19th century presidents were more likely to be inattentive to disaster relief or even decline requests for disaster relief. And it wasn't really until the 20th century when presidents were the main actor or one of the main actors in trying to get relief to victims of disasters. In the 19th century, debates over disaster relief took place in Congress, and members of Congress argued for aid on behalf of members of their districts. But eventually, in the 20th century, partly because of the new media environment, partly because of changing conceptions of the modern presidency, presidents realized that disaster management and responding to disasters would serve their electoral interests. Famously, James Lee Witt, who was President Bill Clinton's FEMA director and disaster manager, said that disasters are political events, that politicians realize that disasters can be a good opportunity to visibly deliver resources to their constituents, and presidents eventually realized this, Bill Clinton chief among them. Calvin Coolidge was a famously limited government president, but even he realized that the president and the government, the national government, had to do something on behalf of victims of these massive Mississippi River floods, both to alleviate suffering along the Mississippi, but also to restore the important Mississippi River shipping lanes. This was a critical infrastructure, to use a term popular today. And what he did there was no FEMA at that time, no administrative apparatus, so he appointed what he called his czar, Herbert Hoover, to be his representative on the scene and to go in and lead the response and relief efforts. And Hoover coordinated diverse groups, what we might call NGOs today, localities, Just Citizens, and also the Red Cross, to help rehouse, relocate, feed people, do sandbagging. And this relief effort was regarded as really quite a success, organizing diverse groups of people along the Mississippi. Unfortunately, there were some abuses of civil rights of poor people and maybe making people participate against their will in these relief efforts. But other than that, it was generally regarded as a well-organized response under this ad hoc czar system. Compare that to the government's response to Hurricane Katrina, of course, and FEMA's leadership and participation in that. After the Coolidge and Hoover response to the Mississippi River floods, Hoover was catapulted to the presidency. Of course, after Katrina, Michael Brown, his political career was ended, and it didn't help President Bush. The media certainly matters, and that's part of the story in the 20th century. In the great 1906 San Francisco earthquake, President Theodore Roosevelt communicated with federal government personnel on site via telegram, via these short telegram messages or via letters. Actually, on site there were military officers and personnel at the Presidio, a military base, and because they were there, they were affected too by this earthquake and the subsequent fire. They participated in the immediate response and did some of the organization, so there happened to be federal government personnel there. But really, the president himself was at quite a distance from this, and so only gave very general commands and responses to do something like, do your best. Contrast that with contemporary disasters like Hurricane Sandy and the images of President Obama arm in arm with Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, or the BP oil spill, President Obama on the news, and the 24-hour news cycle on television and increasingly in social media really creates conditions that require presidents to be out front and to be the responder in chief. Civil defense came out of plans, really in the First World War and then the Second World War, to prepare the population at home in the United States for attack from abroad, from bombs particularly. And then after the Second World War, with the development of the atomic and nuclear bombs for nuclear attack. This was initially a federal or national government program, and it created plans, programs, officials, offices, funding sources, although very minor ones, to prepare the nation through states and then localities for nuclear attack. And the primary goal at the national government or federal government level was preparation for nuclear attack from abroad through fighter bombers and intercontinental ballistic missiles. But states and localities eventually realized that they wanted to prepare for the more routine disasters that they face, the fires, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes that were more routine part of their lives. So states and localities, governors, mayors, local civil defense officials use these plans, procedures, even facilities like evacuation shelters to prepare for natural disasters. So there's a symbiotic relationship in civil defense with the national and federal government using the preparation for natural disasters to get subnational government, state and locality buy-in for civil defense, while the states and localities used civil defense plans and procedures and apparatus to prepare for natural disasters.